Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pinfall podcast. I am your hostess, Elizabeth. I'm joined, as always, by my lovely co-host in the top half, Marcus.
Hey, howdy, everybody. It's me, Marcus.
So today we are talking about
SmackDown.
Today we are talking about Extreme Rules. And boy howdy, were the rules extreme today.
Yep.
I want to be annoyed by some of it, but it is Extreme Rules. So I guess
It's a horror show.
if the rules were not extreme, I don't know. I guess we should just dive into it because we got a lot to talk about tonight.
We did get a lot of good wrestling, I will say that for sure.
Did, yes. We started today with
Oh, wait, we should start off by saying we made predictions for every match that happened. And once we get to each fight that we made a prediction on, we will take a drink for our incorrect prediction. It doesn't matter if it was a DQ. If we were wrong, we take a drink.
right. Door open enough for you? There we go. Slowly but surely.
Cat
Knock
coming
it
in.
all open with your hips. Yeah. I'm swinging her little butt around. Yeah. During Backlash, we decided instead to do shots, and that didn't work out quite the way we wanted. In the sense that we were both very drunk. So this time we're going to do drinks. I don't know what Mark is drinking, but I'm drinking a lovely cocktail.
I have a rum and coke. I was going to do shots, but I forgot to buy alcohol that I could do shots of, which is mostly tequila.
Shots of rum?
I can only do tequila shots.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
I have, just like last time, actually, I've got Hendrick's gin, seltzer, and a little bit of lemon juice.
It looks like just a nice glass of water.
Yeah, like a foggy glass of water. I wouldn't say this is a nice glass of water.
Like tap water.
Yeah. But Hendrick's gin, in honor of my favorite Scottish person.
Nikki Cross.
Nikki Cross.
Rest in peace, Nikki Cross, honestly.
Stop. It's not fair. Simply not fair.
There's a lot that wasn't fair.
In the meantime, I will also be drinking a beer. Let's jump into this. Shall we?
Yes, we shall.
So do we want to say what our predictions were in the beginning and the punishment then, and then go into it?
Let's do that.
So we were both miserably wrong, as we probably should have known that we were, with the pregame show, which is where this all started today, with Kevin Owens versus Murphy. We didn't get that right. We didn't get that right at all.
We made a prediction on
Murphy.
What the kickoff would be. Also, did we do an official?
Did we? I don't think we did.
I think I just asked you what it would be. I think.
Oh, yeah, I don't think we made a bet on that because I didn't have that written down. I also don't know what I would have said, so.
I think we agreed on New Day versus Cesaro and Shinsuke.
Well, let's take our drinks now because Murphy definitely did not win.
To Murphy's broken back.
Or neck at this point, who knows?
And I'll be taking nice big sips to make up for the fact that I'm not doing shots.
I'm taking normal sips because I have a small body and shove a ton of alcohol into it. I will be finishing my second slice of pizza tonight. Murphy started out hot tonight. He started out like he was dominating the ring. He got the jumped in quickly. Kevin Owens kind of got ahead of him, but from there it was just Murphy kicking Kevin somewhat constantly. He took his shirt off and I said, "Oh, like for the ladies in the back, thank you."
But really, he was probably like, this heat wave is too much. What? You can't hear me? I can't hear you anymore either.
I don't know what you're saying.
Oh, can you hear me now? Still can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there he is.
Okay, I don't know what happened. I just muted my mic and unmuted it. That's weird. Anyway.
Well, Cesaro.
Yeah.
No, Murphy really looked like he had something under control. He didn't, whatsoever. We got a really sick DDT from Kevin Owens to block Murphy's attempt to jump from the top rope. And then Kevin Owens clotheslined Murphy inside out, basically. To step on that. DDT from Kevin Owens, Murphy landed on his head. And we were both sitting there like...
But that was really cool because it... like, he did like a cartoon fall where he like kind of landed on his forehead and just like somehow sprang up and arched himself. That was...
It would have been funnier if like we didn't watch enough of those videos of like any neck or head injury that any wrestlers like suffered.
We could just be like every other wrestling fan and be like, hey, that was funny. He got hit.
I wanna be that like blissfully ignorant of what's going on in there.
I've also paid too much attention to movie stunts and those stunts gone wrong, and now any kind of stunt I see, it's bad.
When Owens thought that he was going to finish Murphy off with his little frog splash type move, but Murphy got the good old knees up and just right in the tummy, right in the soft tum of Kevin Owens. We got a sick meteor from Murphy and Kevin Owens down, and that's kind of where it started looking a little for Kevin. I mean, he got a lot of moves in on this man. I guess Kevin Owens lives up to that Owens fight mantra because he was not fazed. He did not care.
Also, can I just say, the Kevin Owens we saw on Monday, that was a great Kevin Owens, but this one was even better. Somehow, like, I never expect Kevin Owens because he looks so, like, he doesn't look like a wrestler. He looks just like the average dude you'd see on the street. He doesn't look like he can do all these incredible moves, and yet he does them really well.
I worry about him sometimes because like his legs just look a lot weaker than the rest of his body, and you know, people build muscle weirdly and differently from everyone. There's just something about him where it's like his legs look so small, and I'm like, oh God. But Murphy set up for a superplex, and Kevin was like, not today. He beat Murphy down. Murphy got back up because he desperately wanted this thing. Wanted nothing more from tonight than to superplex Kevin Owens. And just, it never, ever happened. Kevin got a hard stunner to Murphy, covered for that, and won the match, much to our surprise. He also managed to, at one point, he hit Kevin in, like, the face. It made a very loud cracking sound. And I didn't like it. I didn't like that at all. Yeah, it was a good starter for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely better than stuffing one of their lineup fights to the pre-show like they did at Backlash.
I just wonder, this was so last minute and so out of nowhere. I wonder if maybe they were gonna put the Apollo MVP fight there.
No, we'll talk more about that once we get there. But I think that what we saw was supposed to happen. Let me just put it like that. I think MVP is being MVP here.
Definitely don't think it was supposed to happen, but if that's what you want to go down with, I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you dive in on that one.
Actually, now that I'm looking at the time, today's show might have supposed to been going to 10, You know, maybe the Kevin Owens Murphy fight was supposed to happen in the beginning, and then the Apollo MVP fight was supposed to happen, which would have taken roughly about a half hour, give or take, with commercials and stuff. It's kind of weird that the show ended at 9:30.
Yeah, that's early out for us. But yeah, I mean, it was still an interesting fight to start off with, and it really reminded me of like why I really want to see Murphy and Alistair fighting each other again. Both have a sort of style that's a little different from everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost very martial artsy, and just like I want to see this happen again, but I want to see it outside of the realm of Ray.
I have a feeling though we're gonna keep continuing this storyline because Ray lost his eye again, and he's gonna need to be defended again.
I heard when I was looking up, I was looking up the list of matches when we were making our predictions. I've heard a lot of rumors so far that they're going to wrap this all up at SummerSlam.
That's still a month away.
Yeah, but what's that? 4 episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still a good fight.
I don't work there.
Good opener.
Yeah, great opener. I liked it a lot more than the Apollo Andrade fight.
Yeah.
Even though there was less at stake here. This brought us right on into New Day versus Shinsuke and Cesaro table match.
And I was incorrect. I said the New Day would win with an appearance from Xavier Woods.
Got none of the above.
Yeah. I was disappointed. But at the end of the day, we got a double table slam from Cesaro.
Don't worry about Kofi.
Yeah, Kofi wasn't moving. And nobody helped him, not even Big E.
He was looking a little upset. He was looking a little in his own feelings at the end of that.
What if we see New Day split up? Before Bayley and Sasha.
What if a meteor hits the Earth tomorrow? It could happen. Should it? You're not my best example.
At 2020's rate?
Yeah. I may have willed something horrible. I'm sorry, guys. If a meteor does hit Earth tomorrow, it's definitely not my fault, and I definitely do not call for it.
Liz has a very bad habit recently of just willing things into the universe, just saying stuff and it happens. She has yet to say that we're going to get $5 million, but that's her own fault.
I keep saying, I'm not worried. I'm going to get my job back soon, and it's been 4 months. That's why I drink.
Wrong show.
Continue. Okay. So the stipulations of this match were that everyone was in at once. Free for all, no tags. Loser loses when they get sent through a table.
Well, rather, the winner wins when they send someone through a table. Because I feel like if somebody just jumped onto a table and it smashed, they wouldn't lose. I wish we'd seen that happen and for everyone to be really confused.
Like, you now.
Like Cesaro just like stomps onto one and is like, did I lose?
This almost was like a hard match for me to take notes during because of everything happening all at once. Personally, I believe that they were going to win Cesaro and Shinsuke because they've been going on and on about not being respected enough. And New Day's had the title for not long, but like long enough. You've got this many active tag teams.
They've had, I think, they've had the most title reigns for this title. I think it's 3. 3 times they've had this title.
It's more, but maybe I'm wrong.
Because they're...
It was like 6.
Was it 6? Because I know like their intro is like the... They say how many times they won in their intro.
Almost positive it's 6, but I could be wrong.
You're probably right. For some reason 6 was popping up into my head, but I thought that didn't feel right. But you're probably right.
Most of this was just Cesaro gets a table out and sets it up, and then Kofi gets a table out and sets it up, and then Shinsuke gets a table and sets it up, and Kofi gets another table, and Cesaro gets another table, and I'm like, I already got 7 tables up. Like, just throw somebody through one of them. Jeez.
Meanwhile, there were like 15 tables like leaning against the walls outside of the ring, but yet they kept pulling out more.
It was... There were a couple moments where it really looked like maybe this was going to be the New Day's fight. They looked really good in the beginning. And the one thing that the New Day has on them is that they play well as a team without playing dirty. And Kofi thinks he's just so smart. He thinks he's so damn smart putting that second table up on top of the other table.
Mm-hmm.
He's got it all going for him. Until Cesaro picks him up onto the top rope. And with the aid of Shinsuke, slams him through both the tables, and was genuinely worried because like you said, he wasn't moving. He wasn't moving after he went through the 2 tables. Like, he was just laying there crushed between all the wood. And yes, they are scored. Yes, they break easier than your average setup table. However, going through 2 pieces of wood, whether it's maple or balsa, it's still gonna hurt like a little more than just getting thrown onto the floor from that height.
And don't forget the metal bars in the table.
Yeah. The one nice thing that came out of this, though, is that New Day's logo, when they come out, was different from what it's usually been.
Mm-hmm.
It still has Xavier, which still at least gives me hope that, like, Xavier hasn't, like, completely said, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore.
Real quick, can we talk about... There's one move I wanted to talk about, and that is Big E's spear onto Cesaro. He just... Because Cesaro was standing outside of the ring on the ropes, and then Big E just charges through the ring and spears him, like, just clean spear, flies him out to the ramp. It was amazing.
Yes, because he just narrowly missed the table.
Yes.
Yeah. That was impressive. He knows how to throw his weight around.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why the New Day is such a good tag team, is that they have the brawn, but they've also got, like, the aerodynamics of Kofi.
Yeah, and I feel like it really helps when your team that looks like they're having so much fun constantly, when you have a match where you're very serious and upset, it hits even harder, which is perfect for them.
Seeing Biggie's face, like, hurt me at the end of that, because he was just, like, sitting there, like...
Yeah.
On. Nothing happening up here anymore.
No rage, no anything.
I think the one nice thing that will come out of this is that now Cesaro and Shinsuke can kind of focus on maintaining their titles, and the New Day can focus on fighting literally anyone else.
I want to see them against the Lucha House Party. We've seen them with them before. Also, Miz and Morrison would be a good matchup. Haven't seen them fight in a while.
Or maybe the Two Forgotten Sons?
Two Forgotten Sons. Maybe like a tag team with Matt Riddle. I want to see Matt Riddle do some tag team stuff. I feel like we didn't see him at all do tag team stuff at NXT. Oh no, we
Yeah,
did.
because he was with Timothy Thatcher.
Yeah, and they hated each other.
Like the first episode that we watched of NXT together was when they stopped liking each other.
Yeah.
Now to think about where Timothy Thatcher is with Timothy Thatcher's unsanctioned murder time, versus where Matt Riddle is right now, is
it
doesn't compute.
I just don't want to see 15 SmackDown episodes of New Day versus Aaron Shinsuke over and over and over.
I'm getting a little tired with that. Again, it's the same problem that they're having with the women right now, is that it's like, have a lot of singles people that you can stick together, and you aren't together. Oh. It's like having all the ingredients for a cake and just being like, I want to make banana bread. Like, have an option.
Mm-hmm.
Make it. I don't know. This brings up the same, what I was saying earlier about the Forgotten Sons, is that this brings up the same problem that I've been having with tag teams, is that it's like, I still feel bad at the two men, Wesley Blake and
Steven Cutler,
assuming they do not share those beliefs because they said they didn't.
Yeah.
Assuming that there's not a deeper reason for why they've all been just sent into the shadows. I feel bad that they have paid the same price that Jackson Riker has paid.
I mean, I feel like despite, because they were, both of them, outwardly Black Lives Matter, and since they shared the same gimmick as Jackson Riker, they would still receive the same public treatment as Jackson Riker from the people that wouldn't like know as much as we do about their reactions. They would just think very instinctively, okay, Jackson Riker's with these other two, so they're just like him.
And I get that. I guess I think the thing is, I'm more angling towards is, it's like, SmackDown seems to be hurting for any sort of like real content lately.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have these two guys whose gimmick at this point now might be like a little like, I don't want to go near that. They could still take it and turn it, just like tweak a couple different like things, a couple different parts of their language, and make it sound like something that's all inclusive, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe anger Vince McMahon's butt buddy Donald Trump. I feel like that's like devil's advocate like level that they need to be doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know that's never going to stop. That's unfortunately an unchangeable facet of WWE. But these two guys like didn't do anything, and as long as like you change their message to be promoting like some form of inclusivity, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they said like, we aren't going to perform if Jackson can't perform. Maybe that's something that happened.
No, because they were also like, if they were like that, they would be more defending Jackson Riker on social media. They can criticize him personally if they have this angle that you're talking about. They would probably do that personally rather than on social media. Because if they do it on social media, then it's very clear like they are stating that they do not share the same beliefs as Jackson Riker.
That's true.
But with that said, it would be really nice to have another heel tag team.
Yeah, especially now that Dolph and Robert are gone.
Yeah, and
not getting them back.
And Miz and Morrison are doing other things right now besides tag team stuff.
Morrison might be dead.
Yeah, probably.
We cannot be sure.
But we've talked enough about Forgotten Sons, especially since they were not at Extreme Rules today.
Are we still talking about a wrestling match? Let me get my scrunchie that just fell to the ground.
There's one on your wrist.
I don't want that one. Cat hair all over this one. God damn. Camera's cutting it out a little bit.
Yours is too.
Oh, should I try to change over to the other Wi-Fi?
Not right now.
Okay.
We'll just save it for tomorrow.
Anyways. Today we'll get this fucking review proper. So, now we move on to Bailey and Nikki.
Yeah. The beginning of the disappointment.
Let's take our big drinks.
We both said Nikki Cross. You actually said Bailey originally, and then after seeing the promo from Friday, you said Nikki.
I'll make mistakes.
So, this was Nikki's match. All the way.
Yeah. Bailey starts off doing what Bailey does best, getting Nikki in the corner, yada yada. But Nikki came out with the backbreakers tonight. The neck breakers, rather. I got too hyped up on that one, sorry. I mean, you got like a sampler platter of like Nikki Cross extraordinaire with neck breakers back to back, just hard kicks. We got a tornado DDT. We got 3 crossbody slams in a row. Nikki Cross had no reason to not win this match tonight.
Except Bailey.
Bailey's the only reason that
Sasha.
Nikki Cross did not win. And then, yeah. You know, normally that sounds about right because you're like, well, that's the opponent. And if there's anyone that they're going to stop from winning by, it's going to be the opponent. But no, actually, Nikki looked so damn good tonight. And she was recovering from like hits. She was recovering from throws. She wasn't letting her mind get the best of her. Until started off, Bailey's arguing with the ref. Okay. Whatever. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
It happens. I see Sasha like, up, like, maybe now. It's like, no, sit down. And maybe this wouldn't have happened if Alexa Bliss had been a little more proactive, like Kyrie was later tonight. Who's to say? Anyways, but Nikki, in spite of all that she did to manage to avoid any hit from Bailey, Sasha distracted the ref, tossed Bailey her... I don't remember which brass knuckles it was, if it was the legit one or the boss one.
I think it was time, actually. Because I think she has boss time today. Oh no, it was boss because we saw a shot of it laying on the floor separately.
Oh, okay. That'd make more sense. She passes Bailey the boss brass knuckles, so to speak, and distracts the ref so that Bailey can smack Nikki in the tummy with it. Which I guess, even though I'm almost positive that is all fake, everything on those rings. Nikki with it and pins her to win. And
can I just say,
I was hoping. I had a prayer.
I don't mind that they play dirty. It's expected for professional wrestlers. You're gonna have heels who play like that. But I care when you write a match to be totally in somebody's favor. And this is 99% of Bailey's and Sasha's matches where they play dirty. The entire time their opponent is winning. And then right at the end they do something to turn it around, swing it in their direction, and then just miraculously win based on that little dirty trick.
I guess the thing that like is kind of starting to annoy me is that it's like, as you mentioned earlier, I had Bayley winning this before SmackDown. Then SmackDown happened, and I was like, oh, I think I'm going to change it to Nikki because it seemed right that Bayley would win because Bayley constantly wins. And she constantly wins by dirty tactics. I was like, oh, they want me to think that she's going to win because she's been doing this for months now, just like absolute nonstop months. So I'm sure Nikki's going to win this time. No. They decided no surprise twists here. The surprise twist is the surprise twist, which is us not playing into your preconceived notions.
But it's not even the worst of tonight. It's not even the worst. The cringiest foul play that we see tonight.
It got worse. It got so much worse. It's just game because now I don't know where this leaves Nikki. Nikki's whole thing was like, I feel horrible. I've like left my family. I've like left them for all this, and I'm failing. And she failed.
I can picture this happening. Like, Nikki's all pissed off now. Alexa tries to comfort her. Nikki's not really taking it and like kind of lashes out at Alexa a little bit. And maybe that's kind of how they break up. Because I do expect Nikki and Alexa to break up very soon. But I don't know. They didn't really leave many openings for Nikki.
I guess one way they could turn it is because there was so much foul play tonight, either they make us wait until SummerSlam, really change the tide completely, or like in a couple of SmackDown episodes or Raw episodes for that matter, considering everything that happened with Future Fight. Maybe it's just like a quick 1, 2, 3. Vince McMahon comes out and he's like, "Hey, stop cheating! Because you cheated so much, here's the titles to the people who actually should have won." All I can think of.
No.
Other than that, I think we're just going to wait till SummerSlam to see any sort of alternative.
Yeah, I don't think WWE would switch over a belt based on a technicality. Like, if they suddenly uncovered who sabotaged the Intercontinental Championship, it's not going to be Vince comes out and hands Daniel Bryan the title. It's going to be the person who sabotaged it challenges AJ Styles for the title. Like, they want to make it a whole big thing for every single title. That's why they have a lot of title matches for pay-per-views and everything.
Think we're ever going to actually find that one out, though?
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not until Sami Zayn is coming back to wrestle, which probably won't be till 2022. We'll be seeing...
Wear a mask, guys. That's the only way we're getting him back.
We'll be seeing recaps for 2 years prior, being like, this is what happened June 2020, 2 years ago. Was that June? I think so. I think it was June.
Or June.
Yeah.
Speaking of people that haven't come back because nobody will wear a mask. I don't know if you saw the pictures of Roman Reigns you posted a couple days ago.
No.
If you thought Roman Reigns was jacked before, oh my god. Roman got bulked up.
Is it on Instagram?
I mean, it's been like almost everywhere. I saw it on Twitter, but I don't know if it was posted to his Insta first or something, but
is it?
His arms are like
this photo?
Yeah. Oh my god, dude.
I mean,
It's out of control.
if you're not wrestling, what else can you do right now?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But it's just like posted that picture and I saw it through somebody retweeting it. I could never.
Shall we move on?
I'll bring that up. Yes. Let's move on to the Firefly not so fun anymore house.
Well, this was fun. We got Dracula Bray.
Yes, we have Dracula Bray now. And Bray decides that he wants to show the crowd the most horrifying and revolting footage known to man. His little bunny puppet, who apparently was in charge of this, because he yells at the bunny puppet later, is a clip of the karaoke episode. Karaoke tournament, if you will. And Bray just turns and he's like, I get the point that you're trying to make, but that's not the footage I was talking about. And I was like,
oh, God.
Thank you. Like, at least that comes full circle in a way I wanted it to. My God.
I really hope that they filmed that promo, like, prior to airing that episode and, like, left that portion blank in the edit room. And then once that episode aired and they got all the bad backlash for it, they're like, you know what? Just throw that clip up there. Make us seem a little meta.
I hope that Bray made that decision himself. I hope that that was not, like, somebody else's choice. I hope that he was like, oh no, we're doing this. We're doing this right now.
Bray Wyatt, like, snuck in the edit room late at night.
Clipping the pieces of film together. So yeah, I don't know what version of Bray we're getting now, but he is Dracula, it seems.
Well, like a combination Dracula and Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Dracula, though, because I know more about vampires than I do about Frankenstein. Rather, Dr. Frankenstein's monster.
Well, Bray was Dr. Frankenstein. We saw Frankenstein's monster later on, which we need to talk about that once we get there, because I have a lot to say.
Yet you have to wait until the end of this podcast.
I know. It's so painful.
Let's talk about my contender for Fight of the Night. Apollo Crews versus MVP.
Yes, definitely. Actually, the Fight of the Night isn't that. It's Apollo Crews and the physical doctor.
No, he doesn't exist.
It
is. I was just gonna say that if what they're saying is true, if this fight was actually meant to happen tonight, and it doesn't come out that Apollo has like it or something, I'm wondering some of the last few people that failed physicals, it was because of like performance enhancing drugs.
I don't think they would state that though in the program. I don't know.
Like
I
just go bawling out of here.
I feel like though I thought what they were gonna do was, rather than just have MVP keep the title, they were gonna have sort of like what they did with the Intercontinental Championship, where if you can't defend the title, it's up for grabs.
I think in theory that's what they did, because the only reason this was different from Sami Zayn was that he couldn't defend the title. It was up for grabs, but he had an opponent that was supposed to be taking it from him.
So he DQ'd.
As opposed to Sami Zayn. Yeah, Sami Zayn didn't have anyone like lined up. Like, it wasn't like he was going to a match and he was like, shit, coronavirus, can't come. Yeah.
But I predicted that MVP would win this match, and technically he did. So I don't drink.
I already took my drink.
Yes, you did.
I'm upset by this. I assume I really have to assume that this was something that wasn't planned, because this is like a really cheap way to, like, if you can just make Apollo lose, why would you make him fit? You know? I feel like there's got to be something that happened.
I
don't know if the excuse of selling the physical is accurate, but I think something had to have happened. I mean, for example, like when Drew McIntyre's mother passed away and he was not on Raw, Jinder and Heath were like, oh, he's scouting for us, because that was back in the cursed 3MB days. They make up all the time for stuff like that. And because I looked it up, there's nothing online about Apollo. And normally those things come out like day of, as opposed to after it's announced.
Mm-hmm.
So
I feel like,
I think it was planned.
I feel like we only question it because it's MVP, and he in and of himself is a very sketchy dude. And so if something like that happens, we probably just associate it with him and thinking he did something.
I don't think he did something. I think that Apollo Crews, something happened to him in the sense that he's either sick or injured.
Well, I'm thinking that MVP did something to him, like, oh, he failed his physical, as in somebody kicked his ass in the locker room. But yeah, I mean, I hope it wasn't anything, relating to real life. I'm hoping he wasn't caught with performance enhancing drugs, or doesn't do performance enhancing drugs, rather. Did you find something?
A lot of people are suggesting that it was coronavirus.
That's also what I was thinking before, because I wasn't even considering performance enhancing drugs until you mentioned it.
I only mentioned it because that's what, like, they said a lot back when people were testing positive for performance enhancing drugs, was that they failed their wellness exam. A lot of people are saying, like, the idea that you're saying he can't compete because of an injury that happened 30 days ago, a little fake. But a lot of people are saying he definitely tested positive for coronavirus. Which would make sense, because they definitely would not tell the truth about that whatsoever. Best wishes, I suppose. Maybe if Rick Buggs just kept his mask up. It's a joke. That's a joke. That's be mean for me to say that. Seriously, that's a joke.
But there legit was somebody in the crowd today with their mask not over their nose.
After everything that we have learned about this pandemic, by the way, and after everyone that has tested positive at the WWE, including big name people, I would not be caught dead in that arena without a mask on. I don't care if I'm like Tom Phillips leveled, like sitting there muffled through my mask. Yeah, it's not happening. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so it's probably safe to say that he has coronavirus. They're definitely not going to tell us that if it's the truth or not. I'm just hoping that literally no one that had to be in physical contact with him has it. Looking at you, Bobby Lashley. Full Nelson, the poor man.
Yeah, or Cedric.
Then you got your blood on Cedric and Ricochet.
I was going to say Cedric and Ricochet were in direct contact with Apollo.
Oh, yeah, that too. But anyways, not good.
But I am glad that the new, better-looking belt is in play now, rather than the older, still good-looking, but not as good as the new belt.
Yeah.
Anyway.
What cost? It sucks because Apollo worked so hard to like get back to getting this belt like a month after he was injured.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, sucks. Of all the people, it's sweet little Apollo.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Little baby face.
Let's on to
the real horror show.
The weirdest damn match of all tonight, I think. Take a little sipski, buddy, because I got it right. Seth Rollins took Mr. Mysterio's eye. And guess what? Spoiler alert. Doctors say that they can reattach it, and he's probably not going to lose his sight.
No, they're probably just gonna.
Shocker.
They're probably just gonna put on the like the mask cover again.
I'm sure, because the thing is that it's like, well, in theory, following the storyline completely here. Bray lost his eye. And we took the patch off of his mask and revealed like a milky white eye, implied that it had no sight in it. And then it got taken out, but now he might not lose his sight because the doctors might be able to reattach it. It's like, all right, but it looks like he lost his sight in that eye.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what he was trying to go for there. You telling me he's gonna get it back?
I mean, what I hated about this match was this was the match that was the highest stakes in the whole, like, even though there was no title on the line, it was the highest stakes because you would assume somebody was losing an eyeball. Either Ray would go fully blind or Seth would go half blind. But instead what happened was Ray just lost his already blind eye. Nothing is going to change for him. Nothing changed for Seth. Everyone's still back in the same damn position. Which shouldn't happen at a pay-per-view event.
You haven't watched enough soap operas to be ready for this kind of stuff, have you?
I never watched a soap opera in my life.
That would have prepared you for this. I, however, have watched Days of Our Lives and Young and Restless many a time. Trust me, you can die, but you're not dead.
We did get Seth Rollins puking though.
I don't want to talk about that right now. So anyways, going into this match, I was not excited about it at all. I was not looking forward to this one bit. I don't think a lot of people were. I think a lot of people were like, either you were so hyped up about it, or you were like, no.
I hope AEW's Eye for an Eye match was better than this.
I don't know if that's happened yet. I wonder if it has.
Oh, I don't know.
I'll have to look. Renee's tweeted about her husband going half blind. It was off really cool because Ray, his walkout music started. Mr. Mysterio was behind Mr. Rollins the whole time. It was just
newsflash, asshole! I've been behind you the entire goddamn time.
Oh my god. Oh, you got to use a fun quote today, and I'm not going to get to use mine because there's no bald people. I'll still use it sooner.
That was Bobby Lashley, and you missed that. Technically, Rey Mysterio's bald.
No. Wait. Oh, wait. Take it from me if you find the right moment. He got my favorite tornado DDT. But we also got Seth holding pliers. Not sure if that's the best tool to remove an eye with. They weren't like needle nose pliers, which I think would have been smarter.
It was like closer to a wrench.
Yeah. I don't even know if those were pliers.
I think it's like, I don't know. I don't think they're like heavy duty pliers. I know they are pliers, but not like the electrical pliers.
Fair. It's literally all I've ever worked with. So. Bray pulls out a toolkit under the table. Good thing that they had that conveniently on top of a table under the ring so that Bray could just slide that out.
Yeah, we thought he was just sliding out a table, but he was pulling out the toolkit on top of the table. Also the Kimbo stick. No. Not the best tool for plucking someone's eye out.
No. Better for mashing or blending, if you will. At one point, Seth had jammed it into the top turnbuckle, slam Ray's eye into it, which I'm glad that didn't happen. I'm glad that didn't happen at all, because Mr. Mysterio would not get that eye back, I can tell you that. Basically, I think the main focus of tonight's match was that getting an eyeball out of someone's head is not nearly as easy as Ray made it sound. Slippery little things.
I mean, I'm surprised it came out as easy as it did contextually. It didn't actually come out. We got to see a prop eyeball, but
barely even.
Yeah, it was like Ray's hand was covering it. You could just see it through like the hole in his hand. But the weirdest part was like the whole time Seth was trying to gouge his eyeball rather than like pluck it out. He had the pliers. He had the right idea from the start and was like, yes, I'm going to pull his eyeball out. And then for the rest of the match, he was like, no, go back in.
Like, I made a mistake. I wonder if either of them need to wear, like, medical contacts and if they weren't, like, able to this match. Because there's so many chances of it getting, like, shifted out of their eye or something. Leaving them, like, quite literally half blind.
Yeah.
Seth got a sweet 619 to the face, as Ray had promised. And Seth went to dig Ray's eye out on the stairs, but had no luck. Ray managed to do Seth's stomp to him, which I said.
That was the moment where I was like, Ray's winning this match. That's it. It's over. Ray's gonna win. But yet Seth accidentally won.
Yeah, and then Ray started crying, I think. It looked like he was crying, like a lot of it, which makes me kind of wonder.
Regrets?
I was gonna say, is this it? Is it over? Like, completely, like, Mr. Mysterio? Like, is this his last match?
You know, if it is, that's disappointing because I was hoping his last match would be like a win, or they would announce at the end, "This is my last match."
I think I could be wrong. It just, like, he seemed really upset, like, genuinely, like, in tears. That was what made me wonder, I guess.
Could also be a good actor.
Yeah. It's just weird to have to act like you're crying behind a mask. It hides most of the crying aspects of crying. I don't know. Seth kicked Ray in the face and stomped him. And I knew it was coming, and I was getting very uncomfortable. And then Seth brought Ray's eye back to the stair, and apparently got it out that time. I didn't realize that he had gotten it out until Ray called for a medic.
Yeah.
And then Seth puked.
Same, though.
I didn't care for that. That was almost worse, though, for me. Because, like, I don't have, like, the disgust reflex when it comes to an eye popping out of someone's head because I've never had to see that. I don't know how my body reacts to it. And since I didn't really see it, I was like, okay, well, that's uncomfortable, but, like, at least they're carrying him away. I've seen people puke before. I know what it's like to puke. I don't like watching people puke. And that took some deep breathing from Elizabeth to get through. I didn't like it. And then, of course, naturally, as Seth should have been, everyone booed him on his way out. I'm really wondering where this leaves us for tomorrow night. Because it seemed a little weird.
I think we're going to see him turn face, honestly. The way he was reacting to everyone booing him and the sort of grief he felt after accidentally plucking out Ray's eye, it definitely looked like he thought he went too far.
I don't know how I feel about that. I really like him being a heel. I really like the Monday Night Messiah bit that he does. I think that's really fun, and I think it's, like, sort of John Lennon-y, we're bigger than Jesus kind of deal. Actually for a Sunday night pay-per-view. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm really hoping that whatever his next move is interesting at least.
Yeah.
And I hope that like they don't ruin his character, because I always get worried when like things like start changing for people. I'm hoping they just don't ruin him. If they don't ruin him, I'm fine. I'm fine with it.
Do you want to move on?
Yes. We then had Bailey backstage, where Philip Braxton asks her how she felt about Rey Mysterio losing his eye, which was also kind of cringy for me because, like, we all know he didn't actually lose his eye.
Yeah.
Smart enough here to know that that's just kind of goofing off a little bit. Like, it's a story. So I was like, Bailey starts off being all like, "Oh, that ain't." No, it's not like he actually died. Save that for when someone actually dies. And then she made a perfect kiss Asian joke, and I said, love it. Keep going.
She said, "You're not seeing double. These are my dose straps."
Yep, loved it for her. Was so happy for her.
Now on to the most confusing match of the night. After, oh wait, I don't think we finished the promo. Wasn't there more? Didn't Sasha come in at one point?
Yeah, but they were just congratulating each other,
Okay.
or not congratulating each other, but like being one another up.
Okay.
It wasn't anything special. Yeah, because then we had Asuka versus Sasha.
It wasn't even like a very impressive fight. Like it, I love Asuka and I love Sasha. Oh yeah, drink.
Oh wait.
We both picked Asuka. Even though Asuka might have technically won, or technically retained, depending on what they decide to do on Monday. But yeah, it wasn't a super impressive match. The ending was kind of awful and confusing. I saw a lot of people say like it's goofy, it's silly, it's funny, it's like what classic wrestling used to be.
Yeah. So Asuka, in total fairness, didn't look great tonight. She had a couple moments, like she would have some like short bursts of really awesome moves, and then it would just be back to Sasha destroying her. And it didn't start looking like it may be Asuka's fight until towards the end, where Asuka got a couple really good hits on Sasha, and really pulled into that Asuka lock. But at one point, Sasha slipped off the ropes.
Yeah.
And that, like, it looked like she actually, like, slipped off the ropes. It didn't look like that was intentional.
But then they cut to, her, was she doing, like, a moonsault or something? And she landed on her knee. Both of her knees, actually.
Prior to going up onto the rope that way, she went... Where is it? Goes down for the double knees on Asuka, but Asuka managed to kind of roll over out of the way. And the way she landed was... Or no. Asuka went superplexed her, I think. And she kind of like freed herself. She landed on her knee a little funky. Or rather, landed on her. And then her knee kind of weird. She also played into it a lot. Like, she was, like, complaining about her knee on, like, the mat. And it's like, They start doing that. I'm like, you actually. And that was when afterwards she slipped off the rope on her knee, and it kind of stopped looking like, oh, she's just faking it. It's hard to fake a mistake, I guess.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And that was another reason why I was like, oh, maybe this is Asuka's time now. Asuka a couple submission moves and had like a fully blown Asuka lock on Banks, like a perfect one. Banks is tapping. Bailey is distracting the referee because she's in the ring. And Sasha tapped. And then Bailey brought the belts in with her. So Sasha picked up the belt that Bailey left behind when the ref shooed her out of the ring, rightfully so. And the ref says to her, hey, you can't use that. You can't use that. You definitely can't use that. Sasha, oh my God, you cannot use your belt in the middle of this match. It might be Extreme Rules. This doesn't count. It didn't matter because in the middle of their argument over whether she could or could not use the belt, Asuka decided that was time for the green mist, and Sasha ducked out of the way just in time for the referee to get green misted in the face. So he couldn't see, and apparently couldn't defend the shirt on his back because Bailey peeled it off of him and became the referee. Banks covered Asuka and pinned her, and Bailey counted it out. Refused to ring the bell, so she ran back to the bell ringing man, and they rang the bell. So I guess it counted. I guess Extreme Rules means most Extreme Rules that there is no rules.
And Byron was
unless you're Drew McIntyre. And Byron was not pleased by that whatsoever.
But I have a feeling Asuka's gonna keep the belt. Because, like Byron said, just because she's wearing a ref shirt doesn't make her an official. She's not an official. She can't call victory. So, it just means that the match ended. It doesn't mean Sasha won.
Fair point. I think they're either going to be like, yeah, no, that doesn't count tomorrow. Or they're going to do what happened with Nia Jax and Asuka at Backlash, where next Monday Night Raw, Nia was like, well, you only won because I didn't get back in the ring. So, let's try this again. And maybe then have a more justifiable ending to the story?
Probably not.
It sucked. And I kind of got the vibe because I caught a little bit of it. I think you caught the whole thing. I got a vibe that Asuka was losing the belt tonight only because there was that moment where they were both laying kind of like head to shoulder. And I saw Asuka reach back and kind of like pet Sasha's hair. And you mentioned that you saw Sasha kind of like patting her shoulder.
Yeah, she was like kind of
was like
squeezing her shoulder a little bit.
Yeah. I was like, oh, we broke kayfabe for like a hot second. Just one hot second, didn't we? Because she's losing that goddamn title, aren't we? Oh, well. And that's kind of when I started getting that nasty little feeling.
I'm kind of sick of Asuka's whole thing right now. Because what she does every title fight, she gets her ass kicked for like 2/3 of the match. And then the last third, she gets hyped up and destroys. She did it with Charlotte Flair. She did it with Nia Jax. She did it in either fighting Bailey or Sasha Banks. And she did it here up until like the very, very end when the ref got green misted in the face. Yes.
Can we not say that that's Asuka's thing more than the writers for Asuka's thing? I don't want to be blaming Asuka for that one.
The character of Asuka's fighting gimmick. The gimmick that they have placed onto Asuka. Fair?
It's closer. I mean, but that's how a lot of people have been. That's almost why I thought Asuka was going to win tonight. Like, I kind of got a good feeling in me because It's been happening a lot recently. It's been a really consistent pattern. The person who's supposed to win gets their butt kicked in for like a solid 20 minutes. And then they turn around because they've got this fire inside of them all of a sudden. They're like, never mind, I actually want to defend this title. And then they come through and they win. I was like, oh, Asuka looks like she's just fucking eggs out there, so we're gonna be fine. But we weren't fine at all, actually. We were very much the opposite of fine. I stopped having fun at this moment.
Now, up until this point, through the entire actual Extreme Rules event, all of the victors in every fight have been the heel. Minus the kickoff fight, which we can assume wasn't planned. Which didn't give us a lot of hope for the next fight.
This is where Mark drives me insane because he makes up these like patterns in his head, and I'm like, that's not how it works. That's how it works.
It happened with Backlash.
Watch the pay-per-view.
With Backlash,
but that was different.
Every person who was introduced second won.
It means the person with the most seniority or the most to defend won.
That's still a pattern. I mean,
going on to the next fight.
It's not that unimaginable to think that the writers at WWE were thinking, you know what, at Extreme Rules, what if we had just all of the heels win? Because it's the horror show. But then the next fight proves that that's not true.
The fight that meant the most to me. The fight that I wasn't having fun for any of this fight. Not one little bit. Not whatsoever. I was very unhappy. Mark does have to drink. He did choose Drew McIntyre, but what did he choose that was wrong?
I made a second prediction. I made a prediction on Dolph's stipulation, and I said that his stipulation would be a handicap match where he brings in somebody else to fight alongside him, whether it be a person that's a close friend of Drew or just a random dude. I assumed that's what it would be, and I was very wrong. It was much simpler than that.
It is because the WWE has run out of close friends of Drew that are not signed to other brands and are not injured anymore or fighting him. Let's begin. Because I wasn't having fun. I didn't have any fun at all with this match. Not a little bit. Not even a tiny bit. I had zero fun with this match up until the last 5 seconds. We did get to see Mike Rome. That didn't make it better. I learned also today that Mike Rome only does Raw.
Yeah.
Inform me of that. I feel a little stupid. I feel a little dumb.
Meanwhile, I already forget the guy's name. The other guy does SmackDown. The guy who looks like Patton Oswalt.
Just looks like a flatter version of Mike Rome. Like if you just kind of took Mike Rome and went...
Yeah. But anyway, the fight.
So we finally learned the stipulation. I was like, this stressed me out the most, I think. Which was, it is Extreme Rules. Which Drew was like...
Yep, we're here.
But for Drew, rather, Extreme Rules for Dolph only. Which didn't sound super stressful until the match started, and I was like, oh, this is so stressful. Because the thing is that not only can Drew not do any Extreme Rules stuff, Drew could not accidentally do Extreme Rules stuff. Drew could not accidentally throw Dolph into a chair. Drew could not accidentally throw Dolph into a table. Drew had to be sure of that. That's when it stopped being fun for me.
Drew also could be counted out, but not Dolph.
Right, Drew could count. Drew had a 10-second count out, and Dolph had 0. Dolph could just mosey around outside of the ring as much as he wanted, which is why it got really annoying when Drew kept bringing him outside of the ring. Sir, this is not your home anymore. It does make sense to me that would be the stipulation because, like, Extreme Rules, a lot of the things that you can do are heel things, like smacking someone with a chair. Drew couldn't fight dirty because Drew is the uber face of WWE right now.
Well,
Um,
I want to contest that because,
I think it was the Uber face.
well, I don't think Drew is an entire face right now, just because we're seeing um the Scottish psychopath come out, and they've mentioned that a few times.
The thing that like kind of threw me a little bit tonight was that we really didn't see that tonight.
Yeah,
Um,
I think actually I think we did kind of get a hint at it. We got a hint of like the raw aggression of the Scottish psychopath. They keep wanting to say Swedish psychopath, which is Cesaro. But just kidding, he's Swiss. Um, well, when Drew was going to suplex Dolph onto the table, we saw that aggression from him where he just wanted to make Dolph hurt, but then he had to just say no to himself and suplex him just on the floor.
right, but I think that that's almost half the battle of being a psychopath is that he kept it in check at least.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, I think that that's half the battle at the end of the day is that he was able to be like, no, I'm not going to be a moron tonight. I'm going to be smart. So let me run through the match as quickly as I can because I took 14,000 notes. In between at least every single 10 of them is me just saying I want to die right now.
And we are an hour and 15 minutes in, and I know we will want to talk a lot about the last match.
I don't want to talk about the last match at all, so you will not have to worry about that from me.
Okay.
So it's a pay-per-view post show. I can go a little bit longer.
I know. I'm just saying, I'm surprised we've gone this long.
We haven't gone that long, honestly. Now my hair is down, so I've got something to distract. Jesus, it's like a pet. So Drew looked pretty good from the get-go. He threw Dolph out on his spine as Dolph went to get something from under the ring. Drew punched him. Not today, sir. Dolph goes for Drew's eyes. Now, by assault counter. This is number 2. This is the second match where somebody went for somebody's eyes, and this time it was not part of the stipulation. And Dolph goes after Drew with a chair. Drew throws it away. Ragdoll Ziggler. Slaps him, gets all that nice aggression in. And about then, after Drew clotheslined Dolph out of the ring, it was starting to look kind of bad. This was around the time that Drew nearly suplexed Dolph into the table. And thank God that didn't happen because I would have probably cried. I kind of thought that was going to be how it ended too, and I was like, then after powerbombing Dolph kicks Drew in the ball. And that's pretty much when the tide started turning. Ziggler hit Drew with like 14 chairs. He got covered like a million times and kicked out at 2, which is not a Drew McIntyre thing at all. McIntyre is a kick out at 1 until the very bitter end. But no, this was worse. Dolph managed to Drew managed to catch Dolph when he jumped off the ring and smashed him into the announce table. For a belly to belly, but didn't have any luck. And Dolph hit him in the neck with a chair leg, pretty much. And then Drew couldn't breathe, and Dolph's little grubby hands get around his neck.
What happened? Like, Drew like backed off of Dolph and was like bending over a chair just to kind of like catch his breath, and had his like throat right on the back of the chair, like the headrest, and then Dolph smacked his head with a chair, and that sent his throat into the headrest of the chair, or I guess the backrest, because those things don't have headrests.
eh. But basically, Drew sounded like an emphysemic 70-year-old a day smoker for the rest of the match, which was painful to listen to. Even when Drew got hits in, it still didn't feel right. Like, it didn't feel like it was going to be okay. Because Drew managed to clothesline Dolph again. He managed to reverse Alabama slam his ass into the canvas. He managed to do that fun seesaw move where he did Dolph into plexiglass as he fell backwards. Really sick until Dolph kicked him in the knee with a chair, and we all know that Drew's like that's his like Achilles heel right there. Is his knees. And they were just he got sent through a table, man. Sent through a table, and I was like, "This is it." The ref, I think he counted to 9 before Drew got back in.
Yeah, he did more damage to that one table than Kofi did to 2 tables.
Yeah, it looked like 2 tables once Drew was off of it, honestly. And Drew managed to do the Glasgow kiss, and frankly, wouldn't mind that on my face personally. We saw a side of, I mean, like, we can talk about the Scottish psychopath all night if we want to. We saw a side of Dolph that we have not seen in.
If this is what Raw does with wrestlers, I want every SmackDown wrestler to go to Raw.
There needs to be like a Raw training camp where it's just, this is how you go out of your head. Hosted by Timothy Thatcher, who will also be brought up to Raw.
Oh, if only.
When Dolph screamed, "Why won't you die?" Like, wow. I think I've heard Mark scream that at a spider before.
Yeah. Or a roach. Or a wasp.
Yeah. Literally any bug that moves of its own behest.
Yeah.
But, oh my god. Dolph was looking insane. Just turtled over in, like, the corner. And the camera angle was the best for this. Because all you see is, like, Drew's, like, little leggies are, like, here. Drew's rest of his body is, like, off camera. Little leggies are here, and you just see them jump forward into the kip up, and I was like,
oh yeah.
Folks? And then he got the kip up into a Claymore kick. I screamed.
I want to talk about this. We got a little set up in catharsis with this, how Drew messed up the Claymore kick previously in the fight, did the 3 count, got punished in the legs by Dolph.
You need Drew to stop counting down to things. It never works for him.
But then Dolph counted down to his super kick, which Drew then used as his own counter to his Claymore kick. And then that's when he won the match.
I really, like, I thought it was over. I was like, oh my god, I have to watch this happen tonight. I really, you know, there's a couple people I could see taking this belt from Drew right now. It wasn't Dolph. It was never Dolph that I could see that happening with. But then I just see his, like, legs go back and go forward, and I was like, oh my god.
It's not over.
Oh my god. Can't kill him. Just can't. Oh, I was so stressed this whole night because of this match. And finally, I was like, there's no way he can't win. There's no way.
But then there's another match. Oh, sorry.
No, I can't help myself replay that. Like, I don't even know if the camera angle was, like, super intentional. I don't know if, like, maybe they just didn't switch angles, like, in time.
Mm-hmm.
It was, like, the perfect angle for it, because if you're not paying attention to Drew's little calves, you don't see it happen.
Yeah, that's like, that was the very clear indicator that he is, it's not just this fight, it's any fight he's in. If he does a kip up, he's got a while to go.
Like, that's the craziest thing, and the thing that makes me so excited for seeing more of his fights, which I'm literally always excited to see his fights, but this reinforced it, I guess, is that I said at the beginning of this fight, I was like, whether he wins or loses tonight, I think Drew's gonna get his ass handed to him. And he did. He got his ass handed to him on a silver platter, or rather a metallic chair platter. And somehow, in spite of all of that, in spite of reaching a 2 count, reaching a 9 count, the man is still out here kipping up. It's unbearable. I hate him. I love him so much. I am so excited that we get to watch him as a wrestler. I don't think that there's a ton of wrestlers like that right now. You want to keep acting like I'm boring you?
You're not boring me.
Move on. The match that wasn't a match. It's Braun and Bray. Braun goes back to the swamp. Bray's sitting in a chair to greet him. Vanishes. Then Braun's tied up in Bray's weird little shack. And then
we have to discuss our predictions first.
Oh.
So this is hard. But I'm gonna take Reddit's post discussion thread as kind of the truth here. What that said, this wasn't any commenter, this is what the post said, that both Braun and Bray drown and the Fiend emerges. So both lose. So either way, if we predicted either one wins, we lose. Unless we want to consider, because the Fiend emerges, that's Bray winning. But
I mean,
Bray also...
Unless...
Bray doesn't like the Fiend.
Right, but the Fiend is still Bray, and the Fiend still came out of the water.
Okay.
I didn't say that Bray Wyatt as Bray Wyatt would come out of the water. I said that Bray Wyatt was going to win.
Okay. Then,
And I'm not the writer. Can't tell you what happened.
Then we both technically got that right. I will...
Did you ever tweet that we were going live, by the way?
Huh?
Tweet that we were going live?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
I technically made a second prediction. I'm going to drink for it, despite me not making it an official prediction. I said that Braun, despite of my Bray prediction, that Braun would kill Bray and replace Bray as, like, the leader of the Wyatt family. Also because I have this much of my drink left and I want to drink more of it.
I've just been sipping mine.
But this was not fun. They need to do daytime cinematic fights instead of trying to convince everyone that they're doing this live. Especially these cinematic fights, which everyone knows they're not live. You can't see anything. You can't hear anything either.
You can't hear anything, and that has nothing to do with daytime or nighttime. You can't hear anything because they don't know how to mix their audio, which is not hard.
I saw a commenter on Reddit say that my TV was black for 30 minutes and I just see the Fiend come out of the water. What happened? Which, basically what it was.
I mean... Oh, let me get back into the breakdown of the fight. So, Braun goes to visit Bray at the swamp. Bray is waiting for him in a chair. Lipstick going out the corners of my mouth.
A rocking chair right in the middle of the road.
Well, it's a dirt path. I wouldn't really call that a road. It's safe if there isn't lines on it. That's my opinion.
Okay, yeah. The street outside of our apartment doesn't have lines. Do you want to get a chair and sit out there?
Right.
What was that, squeaky toy? Oh my god.
I was just yelling at WWE for not mixing their audio right. I don't think that's mixable.
I think you mixed your audio poorly.
My internal audio is was mixed by a WWE mixer, so. Anyways, aside from all that, I'm not even drunk right now.
Eldon just said, Cat's gonna come running with those squeaks. Yeah.
Like, is this a toy? I don't have a voice box in the morning.
Oh, God.
Oh, it is the horror show. So Bray is sitting in the middle of the road in a rocking chair. And Braun just kind of stands in front of him. And then Bray disappears. And Braun gets mad, so he throws the chair. So. And 2 masked assassins attack him.
Tozawa's ninjas.
Yeah. Vampire Bray is cheering Braun on. And then, Braun number 1, as we will call him for this moment, is laying on the ground. Hovering over him, Braun number 2.
That will never be brought
Braun
again for the rest of this match. He's not referenced or anything. Which, actually, now that the Fiend came out of the water and there is that second Braun, we basically have the Wyatt family again.
Have you ever considered or discussion about WWE loving second things? They've come to light here.
Second roofs, second bronze.
What's the other second thing? Second missing eyes? I don't know.
Second missing eyes. Second mugshots for Jeff Hardy.
Second Mysterios.
Yeah. Second chances for sexual predators like JBL.
Oh.
Allegedly.
Oh, it hurts. Oh. So Braun number 2 hits Braun number 1 with a shovel. Mind you, Braun number 1 is still OG Braun, in case you got confused. And then our blast from the past Bray, Braun wakes up tied up to a chair. Our blast from the past Bray comes in and is talking to him. What did he say? We don't know. You know why we don't know? Because the audio was mixed horribly. He just kind of yells at him. And then I think Braun gets bitten by a snake.
Yep.
And then Braun is by a fire, fighting the masked assassins. But then is also fought by an unmasked man who is not on number 2. And is not one of the other assassins.
And for some reason is covered in gasoline.
He catches on fire.
Oh my god.
And then Braun is out on a pier or dock or whatever, and the lady approaches him. And it's Alexa Bliss.
Oh god.
You don't recall, there was a mixed tag team with Alexa Bliss and Braun. I personally would give the last dollar in my bank account to see that again. However, not like this. It didn't make sense. She was never mixed up in that. She was never mixed up in that. Why is she there?
What was that? Was it the lights flickering? I mean, people were talking about the power going out because of the heat wave.
Get fast, because if the power goes out, I'm going to freak out. I don't do well with power outages.
But
I'm scared of the dark. Don't worry, I'll fly through this part, because it's really quick. And Bray appears where Alexa Bliss's apparition was. Keep following me. He goes for Braun's eyes. Eye assault number 3. 3 times, 1 night. Still wasn't part of the stipulation. Who cares, I guess.
WWE Extreme Rules. The horror show.
If I were in control of the stream right now, I would find a way to get you off of it.
I am the master. I can make you disappear.
Anyways. Braun kicks Bray into a boat, pushes the boat into the water, and then the boat comes back to him. Bray comes out and hits him with an oar. And then they keep fighting, and they're in the swamp, and Braun definitely swallowed some swamp water. And Bray just keeps hitting him with this oar, and Braun is finally back up, and they're kind of like in this like weird gazebo sort of area, and they're kind of sharing a little smile until Braun kicks Bray into the swamp. Braun thinks it's over, and then Bray comes out of the water, pulls Braun in basically by the jaw, and then the water's red. But also, it's been like a minute because like there was a lot of darkness and reused footage of the water, and then it turns red, almost like a jacuzzi might, because then there's bubbles, and then the Fiend comes out and
stares at the camera.
Bray as the Fiend. It definitely sounds like Braun's voice.
Braun said, "Let me in."
Yeah, it sounded like Braun's voice saying "let me in" instead of Bray's voice, which we've heard a million times now, so we should be able to know what it is. It sounded like Braun. And,
so we have... I feel like we're not seeing Bray anymore. We are gonna just have the Fiend. Just the Fiend from now on. And Black Sheep Braun. Basically the OG Wyatt family, kind of.
What if... Yeah. What if we see Braun again? Braun's different. Braun's incensed. Braun's out of his head. Okay? Let's go out. Bray Wyatt as the Fiend. 2 for 1.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're only going to see Braun either as the Black Sheep or in the Firefly Funhouse 2.0.
Also remember, it is SmackDown rating, so...
That's why I feel like we're just going to see Braun in the Firefly Funhouse. We're not going to see any creativity. We're not going to see Braun as the Fiend, unfortunately, because I would love to see that. We're just going to see... we're definitely going to see Braun as Black Sheep. Like, that's definitely going to happen because we already saw him. We know he's going to be there for sure. And I don't think they're going to try and do, like, a 2 Braun situation.
Now, when we realized that the Drew fight was happening before this fight, I turned to Mark and I said, "Oh, you were right with your prediction." I guess it makes sense because it is the horror show. This is a horror movie type scenario. However,
I wish I was wrong.
It's not a main event fight.
It suddenly cut to Undertaker's last ride, and we're like, is that it?
Braun was leaning over the water before Bray pulled him in by the jaw, and he was like, finally over. And the WWE, like, all rights reserved thing came up at the bottom, and I was like, no! Then, I was just going to say that then it disappeared, and I was like, oh, maybe they were just, like, saving face here. And there'll be, like, a real conclusion. No, there wasn't.
Somebody on Reddit said that the WWE Extreme Rules watermark is a new Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano. Because apparently that used to be a thing where you see them come up, and I guess that was, like, the end.
I'm mad that we're here. I'm mad that we're here. I'm mad that that was what we ended on. We could have done that second. I would have quicker seen the Dolphin Drew fight as a main event fight.
I would have quicker seen the Boneyard match again.
Don't press your luck. Press your damn luck, because you know that might happen.
At least we got to see Alexa Bliss this fight.
Drawing Braun back in.
Yeah.
The thing is that, like, I love that, like, that tag team, first of all, serves every purpose for me because I love them together. So, he's so small and he's so tall, and that's my dream height relationship. However, it didn't make any sense because she was not part of the Wyatt family. There was no point in her life where she was part of the Wyatt family. And I swear to God, if I look this up later and I find out that she was in some respect, like, for, like, a day, after all of the Wyatt family research I have ever done into the lore, I'm gonna be mad. However, I will put money down saying that she was never part of the Wyatt family. It doesn't make sense that she was there. It's not like they were ever dating, so it doesn't even make sense there.
Just
confirmed to be dating. There was rumors.
What I want WWE to walk away from this with is, and I know they're not going to, but I want them to walk away from this with the knowledge that they should do cinematic fights either during the daytime or in well-lit areas.
Well, at least the bar fight on Friday should be lit. It's not going to be super cinematic, I'm sure, but it's going to be well lit.
Unless it's all lights out for some reason, knowing WWE.
It's like a bar fight, but it's just like 2 tables of like liquor bottles on the WWE SmackDown ring.
Oh, that would be so disappointing.
Yeah, but also, would you be shocked?
No.
You ever had a dream where it's like you walk into a place that like you've thought about in your head, like say it's like NASA, right? You walk into NASA and you're like, oh, I'm in NASA. This is so cool. But it's like a couple of like Dell 2005 computers like hooked up to like a wall. It's just disappointing. You're like, can we really do nothing better than this? That's all we have in it. I feel like it's gonna be.
This all sucks because the Money in the Bank fight set such a high bar for cinematic fights because that was beautiful. That was outstanding. The best pay-per-view event that we've seen because it was just they put in everything. Even technically, they put a lot of work into the camera work, into the lighting, into the sound even, because you could hear everything. Even having the Undertaker's bedroom in the 4th floor break room. There was so much detail in that. But in this, you had like a couple shacks and a pond. Like, there was nothing. You didn't even know who those masked dudes were fighting Braun.
The thing that breaks my heart is that there were so many ways that they could have made this fun and interesting. First of all, if they lit it much better than they did. Mm-hmm. Second of all, if with all the money that WWE brings in and gets from people like that don't subscribe, like, you know, from donors, if you will, there's so much that they could have done as far as like making the fight with Bray and Braun something that was like a fight that we would have seen in a ring where we can see all the moves. Mm-hmm. Not just in the water, like fighting lily pads. There were so many things they could have done, so many assets that they could have explored, their relationship with the setting of the swamp, with anything that we've seen in Firefly Funhouse. There's so many things that they could have done. Like if that were me, I would have just been like, okay, you know, having Braun standing over Braun was cool. That was like psychological, right? Mm-hmm. Why did we not see him again? Why did we only see, as far as like Bray's like swamp house, the house that Wyatt family was supposed to be from? Because apparently we've gone back in time to the swamp, and I assume this is before Randy Orton burned their home down. Regardless, before you say anything, what are you gonna say actually?
They didn't actually go back in time. Original Bray was just brought back from the dead.
Okay, so regardless, we were to assume that original Bray was living somewhere in the swamp. Why did we not see inside? It could have been a fight that took place in a house outside of a swamp. Place in the house where it's lit up to a degree, creepy, gross, yucky. Creepy things hanging out in corners, who knows? And then we go into the swamp. So I've seen a fight, and then I see a swamp. And I see a fight in a swamp, and you can still the feet come out. It's just every time I expect bare minimum from SmackDown, I get less.
They could have even just, on a technical level, and we both work in the film industry, so we know what they could have done. You just get some floodlights, attach them outside of the filming space, outside of the set. You just set them up like a normal house would have floodlights or any kind of like river area would have floodlights, especially a dock, and they can afford a nice camera with good low light capabilities. Get like just a Sony FS7 or something like that. I have seen the cameras they use. I use those same cameras before quarantine on like a semi-daily basis. The Sony EX3s, they have terrible low light. They're meant for nothing more than just studio stuff, like what they're doing in the ring, which is fine to use those cameras for. But they're awful for any kind of cinematic shooting like they were doing. Eldon said the only thing they wanted to drown in that swamp were your expectations. They've got to do better. Yeah, perfect. We can end it there.
Yeah. That note from our lovely viewer, Eldon. Dude, I don't.
Let's go into our bests of the night. Just.
I mean, I think promo's pretty much a given.
Yeah, the Firefly Funhouse with Brakenstein.
Or Bracula.
Well, he's Dr. Frankenstein now because the second Brawn is his Frankenstein's monster.
I want him to be Dracula.
I did too. He did a very Dracula thing.
He had a cape and he had the voice. Dracula. He's Bracula. Anyways, I'm choosing that. I know you're choosing that because it made fun of our least favorite SmackDown thing that's ever happened in the history of SmackDown.
Yeah, honestly.
And give me 14 Bayley and Sasha cheating matches, fine. Don't give me karaoke. I'm not getting started on that again. Like, it at least came to my rescue here. I almost birthday twin.
So,
ironically, if you really think about it, the funniest part, Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, Daniel Bryan was in the Wyatt family. 180 on that personality, and they're both Geminis.
So Fighter of the Night.
I have mine. It's not, you know, I'm transparent about it.
I already know what yours is. But I'll go one by one, like we do every time. And for those just tuning in for the first time, and you're unclear as to what we're doing right now, we like to pick, of everything happening in the night, we pick the best promo of tonight, the best fighter of the night, and the best fight of the night. I never explain that every night.
This is Mark runs through it all.
Yeah, I like to go one by one.
Mark runs through every single fight, and I make sure that the back of my neck isn't getting sweaty.
And I skip all the details, so you don't need to feel like you're being bored. So we start off with Kevin Owens versus Murphy, which my pick for that was Kevin Owens because he just absolutely went balls to the walls, insane. I was reminded about how great of a wrestler Kevin Owens is. I heard how great he was. I've seen clips of him. Wasn't really convinced until now, but the dude is ridiculously good. Definitely want him to do more than just be a supporting character right now. But the dude went all out against Murphy. I wish we'd gotten a little more like personality from him in this fight. But otherwise, his wrestling was on point today. Then we had New Day versus Cesaro and Shinsuke. My pick, you might disagree for this, is Big E. Mostly because of the spear he landed. Because it was so damn accurate and clean. Cesaro was good. He just wasn't super impressive, especially as impressive as Friday. Shinsuke is alright comparatively. And Kofi was just getting beat up on the entire time. Big E was the only one who stood out, and that was very clear based on how emotional he was after the fight ended. It very clearly showed that he put in his all and didn't get what he expected out of it. So that was a good mix of great wrestling and great emotions and passion in a fight. I just wish we'd gotten a little more of the Biggie we're kind of used to, the one that's a little goofy. We did get the throwing the coats at Corey Graves. So I guess
God, because Corey Graves was wearing a weird suit tonight.
I kind of liked it, like the rainbow skulls. It was like it was a fun horror show jacket. But after that, we had Nikki Cross versus Bayley, which is very much the Nikki Cross show, just like the last fight she was in was. So damn unfortunate she didn't win, because she definitely deserved it today. It sucks so much that they had her go all out in this fight, in this title match, especially after the emotional promo that they gave us on Friday, only for her to be cheated out of the win. She definitely is up there tonight with being amazing, especially when she slipped under the apron and was just gone for a moment, and then just appeared. She appeared on the other side like Dexter Lumis. God, she was outstanding today. Like, she definitely deserved better. I just wish she hadn't hammed it up so much at the end when she was hitting the ribs by the knuckles. She acted like she was dying a little bit. But you gotta put on a show. Then you had the canceled match. And then you had Seth Rollins versus Rey Mysterio. I had Rey Mysterio, but nobody was a really impressive wrestler in this match. It was very much just people, the two wrestlers holding objects up to each other's eyes, trying to take the eyeball. It wasn't so much wrestling as it was repeated stabs. So, I mean, it was great storytelling. It was really good, but not fighter of the night contender for sure. But Rey Mysterio was the pick out of that fight. And then you had Asuka versus Sasha, and Sasha was my pick. Asuka kind of fell flat for the entire fight until she picked it up a little bit at the end. But even then, Sasha just, even though she technically won out of a really cheap way, she gave us a damn good performance that was filled with so much passion. And even when if that was a mistake that she made on the ropes, she played it off really well. And so did the editors, like cutting back to that fall where she could have hurt her knee. We don't know. It was good foresight. And Sasha Banks just landed so many good hits. She was outstanding. I wish she had won on her own and won like a champion would. But no, we got Bayley's interference. And then after you had Dolph versus Drew, my pick for this fight is Michael Cole, because he wasn't in the fight. He wasn't commentating at all.
Bold of you to not choose Mike Rome.
But no, it was Drew. I mean, like, okay. So, I'm normally...
Where's this going?
Because he's like the wrestler right now, he's like the number one WWE wrestler, I try to avoid picking him as the pick because they write him to be so amazing. But if you look at how he gives his performances, how he manages to intertwine like his great wrestling with his raw emotion, and especially today, his conflict between his face self and his Scottish psychopath, it's very clear that he is just a damn good performer. And there's a very clear reason why he is the face of WWE right now, and that's exactly why. What do you want to say?
I just want to say that a couple things. I think I've probably mentioned. I've mentioned one of these things before. everything I definitely haven't because it relates to something that we did last night. But first of all, Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre gave an interview where he basically said, like, I don't care if the writers write, like, a shit match for me, like, something that, like, really sucks for me, or something that's, like, not an easy win, or not an easy way to get over, or I don't care if the writers kind of put me in a crappy position. I'm gonna fight the hell out of it. I'm gonna make it look good. I'm gonna come out however they want me to, but I'm still gonna come out as me. He mentioned that, like, leading up to this, before Heath Slater signed to Impact, and I don't think they're allowed to use his face right now because of that, because I felt like that would have been something that they would have brought up in the promos that they did.
Yeah.
Times before this fight happened. But he gave an interview on that and said, like, I wanted people to see me as, like, a person and not just, like, this really good guy. And I think that because we don't have an audience right now and, like, an arena, I can do that. And I can tell that story of who I am as a person. I can put Drew Galloway on stage under the name of Drew McIntyre. Like, this is still me. This is who I am as a person. I'm not perfect. I'm not entirely a face. I'm not entirely a heel. I'm not, like, this 100% good hero guy that, like, I think a lot of people expect me to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that ties back to, because we watched Fighting with My Family last night. You for the second time, me for the first time. And Rock's whole thing, like, he gives that speech in the beginning. He's like, people don't want to see something fake. They want to see you.
Mm-hmm. He said that
I think
The Rock's persona is his voice, but just elevated to 11.
Right. And I think that that's what we get with Drew McIntyre, is that it's still, in some ways, it's echoes of who he is as a person. And I think that that's why it's so easy to like him now.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see weakness and you see strength through that weakness. I think there's one wrestler that I want to kind of, like, see some sort of inspiration in at this point in my life, at this point in our pandemic. It would be a guy who's like, hey, the odds are stacked against me, but I'm gonna make it through. I'm gonna stand back up.
And before I move on to the next fight, I do want to mention that Dolph was absolutely outstanding this fight. He, like, if Drew was not in this fight and it was Dolph and somebody else, he would, without a doubt, be the pick for the night, because we've never seen this kind of Dolph. We've never seen a Dolph that puts up a hell of a fight when he's literally fighting like a brick wall. And
because, like, Dolph wanted it.
Yeah, and when Drew kept taking so much and Dolph was just in the ring going nuts, that felt very real. How he was just going on and on about how he won't die. And it's just like, that is I'd say that's better heel level than Seth Rollins, because that feels more real. That feels like real frustration and real just anger that he's letting out because he genuinely wants to win. And that was also evident how he didn't want to share the stipulation until now. It doesn't feel like a cartoon. This felt like two people wrestling.
We definitely saw, like, a new version of heel Dolph Ziggler, because most of Dolph's, like, heel moves as of lately have been, oh, I'm just, like, this cool guy, I'm really hot, like, who cares, like, I don't, you're ugly, like, schoolyard bully.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this Dolph was like, I don't think we've seen Dolph want something badly. This Dolph reached his breaking point, and you could see that. And we saw, like, his eyes got, like, when he was, like, stomping on, like, the canvas, when he was yelling, I was like, oh, wow. Because, like, we see a lot of people who, like, Sasha's really good at it, Bailey's really good at it, like, where somebody, like, kicks out of their cover, multiple times and they're just like they like scream because
Mhm.
they're so mad.
Yeah.
I see that a lot, and like I don't mind that. Like, you're mad.
Yeah.
That's an emotional build that we need to see. This was like next level complexity to a heel that we don't get very often, and it's shocking that Dolph wasn't a not convincing, but Dolph wasn't like a complex heel on SmackDown, and now he's on Raw, and suddenly his illishness is getting a new layer to it.
Yeah, and I think a good comparison we can make is Johnny Gargano, especially recently, how he was very much just a cartoon heel, pulling out his keys on Keith Lee, stuff like that. But then we saw Johnny Gargano versus Swerve, and we saw a whole new side of him recently. We hadn't watched NXT prior to his bout with Keith Lee and Mia Yim and everything. But God, Dolph was just so good today. He's definitely like second place for me. Now before I go on too long rambling about how great Dolph and Drew are, we finally have the Braun and Bray fight, which I'm not even gonna pick a fighter for because there wasn't really a fight. I could really only pick Braun because he fought all those masked people. You know what? I'm gonna pick the guy that lit himself on fire.
Commitment.
Yeah. But out of all those fights, I apologize for going on so long. It is 100% without a doubt Drew McIntyre as my pick for fighter of the night, and I'm sure he's yours too.
There's no doubt about it. I think that we're really lucky that we are currently witnessing a phase of WWE where he is the champion. I don't know. I go on about him a lot, and I think a lot of people probably think that I go on about him a lot because I think that he's attractive, which I do. I'm not beating around the bush on that one. That's true.
Not old Drew McIntyre, not like 10 years ago Drew McIntyre.
I can't change Drew McIntyre. We're so sweet then. I think a lot of people think that I like him as much as I do because he's attractive, but first of all, that's not true. That's not how doing sports as a woman works. I see in some ways I find that the way he is in the ring is, as I was saying before, easy to relate to because I mean, he's gone through so much. He's seen he's realized his dreams. He had his dreams taken away from him, and then he had to realize his dreams and kind of knuckle down. And I think that there's, in a way, right now, especially for me, and I'm sure for a lot of people, if you watch that, you're like, all right, you did it. And I think right now where a lot of people are starting to lose the grasp of what's going on in the world, it's nice to be able to see somebody on TV that's literally from the highest high to the lowest low back to the highest high.
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's really nice to watch, and I think that it's really nice to know that or I guess you can't really ever know, but have a pretty good inclination that the person you're watching genuinely means what he is saying on stage. Genuinely is somebody that you could get behind, whether he was a worker at the office or WWE champion. It seems like he's just someone who means well and gives you that same on stage, whether it's real life or not. So that's, I mean, of course I'm going to choose him. He's an amazing wrestler. He's an amazing athlete, and he plays his character so well. It blows me away every single night. I'm never disappointed.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Now, do you want to move on to fight of the night?
highlight of the night?
Well, funny you should ask. So we'll start with Kevin Owens versus Murphy. Very much felt like a last-minute throw-in. Don't know why that fight happened. Don't know why Kevin Owens fought Murphy. Didn't hate it. Was a good fight. Got to see a lot of Kevin Owens, a lot of Murphy. Don't know where it's going. Probably not going to go anywhere. But it was a nice kickoff. And then you had New Day versus our own Shinsuke, where New Day relinquished the title. It was a damn good fight. But there's something about all of the matches that these two tag teams have had that kind of haven't sold me. They haven't had that little extra flair to them that a lot of other fights have. And I don't think it's anything to do with the wrestlers in any way. They all put on amazing shows. Cesaro always puts in his all in every single fight he's in. It adds an extra level of comedy to it. New Day, same thing. They always put in their own flair, their own passion to it. I just think there's something wrong with like the writing, that they're not giving a lot of lead in or like stepping stones forward. I don't know what's really missing right now, and it's really bugging me because these are two tag teams that really deserve the best right now.
I just say, I was gonna say the exact same thing. Because I love watching the New Day. And I love watching Cesaro and Shinsuke. I don't like watching their matches together, and I don't know why. I don't get it. It makes me annoyed because I want to enjoy it, because I'm like, I like both of you. Why would I not enjoy this?
I think it's because nobody on the two tag teams is really big talkers. You don't have anyone like talking in the ring, giving promos or anything. You don't really have much of that. You have Cesaro talking at the commentary booth saying about how much he's felt disrespected, but it's not Sheamus levels of promos. That's it. There's no promos really leading up to anything.
I also think that it's got something to do with the fact that there isn't two people on that team that share a similar style. And I think putting apples and oranges together in the ring kind of is like,
yeah,
weird.
I'm also convinced that WWE hates Shinsuke.
They definitely do. There's no reason for the way he is treated. There's no reason for the way that like his character is like overlooked constantly. But they hate him. They do.
Which sucks because I know he was such a big name in Japan. He definitely deserves more.
He's the artist.
Yeah. And his intro song is super cool.
I need like that to start playing anytime I walk into a room, because like that plays when he walks in. I'm like,
but after that we had Nikki Cross versus Bayley, which was a really good fight. I want to see more fights like this. At least with Bayley, I want to see Nikki Cross kind of move on to something else. I want to see Bayley move on to something else. But I want to see more fights like this with the two of them individually. But that ending ruined it for me. I want to see these wrestlers win by being wrestlers, not by dirty old tricks. And I get it, some wrestlers will do that. That's just like the heel thing to do, but it just happens so frequently that it gets so exhausting, especially when it's done for title matches like this. It's lazy writing, because it's just you're writing a whole filler fight just for a cheap ending. Mm-hmm. I think the Johnny Gargano, not to talk about him again, but the Johnny Gargano way of playing dirty was a lot better, in that the sneakiness was kind of eluded through the entire match he was in. Anytime he was about to play dirty, I remember like in the beginning of one match, he like tucked the keys that he had in like his underwear or his spandex or whatever, to hint that he was going to pull them out, and then you would just wait for him to do it. with Bayley and Sasha, it's just like, okay, we're gonna watch a whole fight, and then we know it's gonna end in some dirty tricks. We just know that's how the writers push it. But besides that, Nikki Cross was amazing. Bayley was good. And then you had Seth Rollins versus Rey Mysterio. Very interesting fight. Definitely a super unique fight that you only get once in a blue moon. Which it's a good thing that happens. I liked the subtlety in the special effects, like the prop eyeball. I was hoping they wouldn't be like, oh no, his eyeball, and like holds it up to the camera or something. You thought they would do that too?
Yes, they did. I'm glad they didn't, honestly.
Yeah, it was very much just like, oh, like they treated everything like it was real, which is nice to see when it's in the ring.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah.
You know how Seth kind of almost got his eye poked out?
Yeah.
He was bleeding here. Do you think that was like real or fake? Because I couldn't tell. I mean, not real in the sense that like he was actually bleeding. I'm saying real as in like a blood pack or something. Or do you think that was fake? You would know more about digitally altering stuff than I would, because I don't in digital.
Something like that, I don't think was. I think that was like real. I think that was practical. I think when they were talking about CGI, the one thing I noticed that could have possibly been CGI was Ray's blind eye, because I know how to do that effect.
I thought that was just like a contact.
It could have been, but I have seen it done, and it is a very common effect, and it's very subtle to do. And Eldon said,
the writer, I only know how to use it.
Eldon said in regards to the blood under Seth's eye, it looked more like the bag under his eye was damaged. His pupil itself looked fine. Yeah. There was just like a little blood, I think, under his eye or something. I don't really know. I didn't notice it.
I just couldn't tell. Again, I know nothing about computers. I know nothing about digital stuff. I only know how to write on a piece of paper and then type it up on Google Drive. Digital anything after a certain point, I'm lost. But, or I guess I know he's pretty smart. But I just couldn't tell if that was like maybe something that they did digitally, or if that was just a practical fake blood kind of little doot right there, you know.
Yeah, that was.
It didn't seem to last long either, which was the weird part, because like it wasn't like he like wiped it away or anything. It was there.
Mm-hmm.
It was relatively obvious, and then after a certain point, and again maybe camera cuts or something, but then it was just gone. I was like,
It could have also been an insert shot that they got later, especially if it was like a close-up or something. They could have just filmed that separately, and that's why it might have gone away so fast. Because I feel like that was an in-ring cinematic fight, especially with the prop eyeball and everything. But I don't know. Back to the quality of the fight. I don't think it was a very interesting fight. I am very curious about where this takes Seth Rollins' story. I am mad that everyone's basically in the same place still. Ray is back to where he was when he got his eye gouged out the first time. Dominic is still in the same spot where he wants revenge on Seth Rollins, probably. Alistair probably still wants to get revenge. Same with Humberto. Seth Rollins is really the only one who might be in a different position. Just because of his reaction to the booing and things going too far. And the fight itself wasn't super interesting at all. But after that, we had Asuka versus Sasha, which was a great performance by Sasha. Amazing passion and athleticism. Asuka was good too, but the ending was such it was so cheesy. It was so bad. My God, it was bad. and you can't have a good fight with that bad of an ending. I very much shared Byron's feelings by the end of that. After that, you had Dolph versus Drew, which is very much like a perfect performance from both Drew and Dolph, and amazing writing. I wish we'd gotten a better stipulation, though. It did seem a little bland. I would have much preferred Dolph just said, "I get a knife," and that's it. That might have been a little more interesting. Although, like, with the whole Extreme Rules thing, I expected a little more than Dolph just pulling out 5 chairs and smacking them over Drew. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that, like, it kind of makes sense because most Extreme Rule and Extreme Rules is that somebody gets to use Extreme Rules and somebody doesn't, because that puts it at a deep disadvantage.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, he didn't just use chairs. I mean, he tried to gouge his eyeballs out. He kicked him in the balls. A lot of stuff that happened that wasn't very nice.
Yeah, but it was my own fault. I went in with like high expectations, trying to get creative. I thought because Dolph is at such a strength disadvantage compared to Drew that he would try and go for the psychological hit on him, like he tried with Heath Slater. But no, he just went for the traditional route, which ended up being an amazing fight, and paves the way for Drew further being this champion worthy of being the champion. I mean, he's gone through everything. He's now gone through a severely unfair fight. And now Dolph, I'm so interested in him now after this fight. I want to see where they take him after this. I wonder if he's going to keep going after Drew, or if he's going to turn his sights elsewhere, maybe to MVP or something. I don't know. But yeah, great fight. And then you had the main event. Braun versus Braun. Braun versus Tozawa's Ninjas. Braun versus Bray. It was dark. And that was it. So the fight of the night for me is Kevin Owens versus Murphy. No, just kidding. It's Dolph Ziggler versus Drew McIntyre. I got you for a second.
You went into that with conviction.
I know I do that all the time of just faking you out with a pick. I gotta stop.
That was the other second thing, the second ending for NXT's Great American Bash.
Oh yeah.
You want me to pretend that wasn't my pick, or should I just?
Liz, I know your pick is actually Braun versus Bray.
It was just so dark. I love not seeing my matches. I know. The Dolph Drew fight was perfect. It gave a huge boost to Drew's character. It gave a massive boost to Dolph's character. And I think Dolph's moving over to Raw was kind of almost overshadowed by his feud with Drew, because his unveiling was him announcing that he wants to fight Drew. With that said, I think that this gives Dolph the real "hey, hi, hello, welcome to Raw" that he needed. Now, like, this is who he is. Go out there, get him, Tiger, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I because we got so much additional storyline from that, and such a new thread to follow for both people. Because it proved Drew's stronger than Dolph, no matter what, and stronger than a lot of things that anyone could throw at him. I think the writers kind of wrote themselves into a corner with this match, because I don't know what will kill Drew at this point besides like a literal weapon.
A knife.
Knife! send a letter to Stanford, or, Connecticut, just like, consider this a knife.
Send a knife in the mail too.
And then cops come, they're like, "Sir, why?" And you're like,
"It's for Drew."
Sorry. Oh. Yeah, I think they may have written themselves into a corner a little bit because I genuinely don't know what will stop Drew at this point as far as like someone getting his belt. I think the only thing that could stop him is the return of Brock Lesnar.
I know what could stop him. Several things actually. Bobby Lashley, like an actual fight, no Lana, Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar for sure, and maybe Goldberg. Because Goldberg destroyed Brock Lesnar.
Goldberg just stood strong and then just knocked the shit out of him like twice. It was a 5-second match.
Yeah. 5 seconds of destruction of Brock Lesnar. Or Randy Orton. The Legend Killer.
Randall.
I have a feeling they might take him there.
Possible. Big name. Drew's becoming a bigger name.
Imagine.
It's possible.
Imagine Drew versus Randy Orton at SummerSlam.
Emotionally and physically, I don't think I could handle that. So, I'd rather not imagine that. You want to get down to the ultimate fight of the night, which is who won between us. I counted it up. You don't have to look at it.
Okay.
You don't have to look at it. Look at it. I counted it. So, I predicted 4 of my predictions. And I just want to say to you, Mark, you fought a good battle. You did. You made some strong bets. I just want to say to you, there's a lot of glare coming off that dome of yours, squirrel nuts, because you only got 3 right. And you predicted an extra one wrong. I was waiting so long to use that.
Thanks for watching, everybody. If you want to follow us on Twitter,
I haven't done my lead up to tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm using a quote that I wanted to use. I've been quoting that for an extended period of time.
Only because Tyler Breeze was quoting it on Up, Up, Down, Down.
Tyler Breeze quoted it, and then I found out what movie it was from, and then we watched the movie, and now it's been 48 hours since I haven't quoted it.
No.
It's been a long.
It's been like...
since I haven't quoted it.
Oh.
As in, like, it's been 48 hours of me consistently doing this.
Yeah.
Probably will not with me for much longer. That being said, we have tomorrow, Monday Night Raw. What's going to happen? I have no clue. It's a 3-hour-long episode, as always, but like this is 3 hours long after a pay-per-view, and if there's one thing that Monday Night Raw does best is post-pay-per-view shows. We have one match already set up, which is Big Show versus Randy Orton. Don't bother watching the preview for it on any WWE service because you don't know what Big Show is saying the entire time because the audio is so bad. We have Big Show, Randy Orton. It's going to be interesting. Randy Orton's going to look like a creep. I'm in love with him. And then I don't really know what's going to happen. We're going to see new Seth Rollins stuff. We're going to see new Murphy stuff. We're going to see new Drew McIntyre. A lot of stuff happening. So we will be back tomorrow, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and whatever that translates over to anyone else in the world. And I'll probably quote something stupid again. And Mark will probably call me out because I watched too much Up, Up, Down, Down.
And we will do another pay-per-view post-show come SummerSlam, unless there's another NXT takeover before then. And that is August 23rd.
5 weeks from now.
And I will probably be doing shots then instead because that doing regular sips was not enough for that many incorrect.
I gotta find like a healthy balance. Like I'm a little drunk right now, but I also got too many right to take that many shots. So
I would have done half. I would have done half shots, but I didn't have liquor for me to do shots of. Next time though.
I see. The thing is that we had a bigger dinner, or at least I had more food than I had last time. I also drank less during the actual viewing last time, which I think is why I fared a lot better today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter is @thepinfallcast. There you can see whenever we go live, first of all. But you should follow us here first if you want that to happen. Also on Twitter, we tweet out a lot of information regarding wrestling. We talk about news, opinions, controversies, stuff like that. So definitely follow us there and follow our individual Twitters as well. This isn't necessary, but it's an option if you're feeling nice. My Twitter is @themarc, M-A-R-C, Cameron. And then follow my Twitch too. Twitch.tv/Mark, M-A-R-C, Cameron. And that's the end of the show. Just kidding. Follow Liz's Twitter @ElizaElane23. @ElizaElane23. Yeah, so follow me on Twitch, follow us both on Twitter, and follow us here on Twitch. And if you missed part of the show, it'll be going up on YouTube tomorrow. Go check us out on YouTube. And if you want to see our other podcast episodes, they'll be there too. youtube.com/thepinfallpodcast. Go check us out. And that brings us to the end of the show. Liz, do you have any final parting words?
I hope that tomorrow's episode of Raw does not result in somebody randomly challenging the belt like they did last time after Backlash. That's all I have to say.
Well said. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. We will see you tomorrow.